welcome to the This Lyric That Truth podcast. I am excited to welcome our guest, Annabelle. I'm going to have you introduce yourself in a second, but Annabelle was actually the service that Annabelle provides. It was my Mother's Day gift, and I just loved it so much. And I thought, gosh, I really want to talk to you about what led you to choose the career that you're now in and how you feel like it's going. So you took a non-traditional path, and I'd love to get into it. Start, Annabelle, by introducing yourself.
I'm Annabelle. I got into professional organizing about 2 to 3 years ago. I'm super passionate about it.
You
So
are a professional organizer. You are a lot of people's dream come true. Okay, so tell me the name of your organization and then how you chose the name.
so my name of my business is Happy Spaces. I chose the name because when you look at a space and it's all clean and organized, it just brings happiness and peace to the home. So that's a little backstory of the name. But I wanted to use something that kind of drew yourself in and kind of focus on the happiness of the space and stuff like that.
Well, I've been a lot happier since you came over and organized my kitchen. We'll talk about that process in a little bit. You went to school here locally.
Yes, I graduated from Zealand East High School in 2022. And then I married my high school sweetheart in this past September of 2024. I'm based out in Grand Rapids right now, but I serve all around locally on the west side, Holland, Spring Lake, Grand Haven, trying to get more on the Grand Rapids side too now that I'm out there.
Because you just bought a house.
Yes, just bought a house. A little side note, Ceci actually got to hear exactly when our offer got accepted, which is a really fun experience. I'll never forget where I was.
Actually, it was funny because you threw me your phone and you go, I can't read it. I can't read it. Because it was, you were bidding against someone else and you were waiting on this text to see if you got the house or the other person got the house. And I was like, I read down. I was like, you got the house.
Yes.
So it was so fun.
The best day.
Annabelle, were you always into organization, like even from being a kid? Tell me about that.
Yes, at a very young age, you have that little kid kitchen. I was organizing everything. I had all the produce in one little cabinet of the kitchen and had all the plates stacked nicely. I'd always keep my room super tidy. I mean, the past like 5 years, I would like beg my mom to organize like her kitchen and stuff like that and label everything. And then I was like, during 2020, I knew that college wasn't really for me. And I didn't know what I exactly wanted to do. And I found The Home Edit on Netflix. And I was like, whoa, these people are doing this as like a career. I want to do that. And I was like, and I could be like a local small business in this area. And that's where I was like, I want to be a professional organizer. I'm super like OCD. I have that brain to just get things categorized and see the vision of what works and what doesn't work. And then I was like, I'm going to start a business.
I like how you put that you're like, I'm super OCD. You didn't say that in a negative way at all, but you see that almost as a superpower.
Yes, I definitely feel like it's a gift to have that mindset, to be able to see a space that is quite chaotic and then be able to figure out what like organizing products, what bins to use. Like typically in pantries, I like using clear bins because you can see what you have. Whereas when you're in a closet, you might want to reduce the clutter and the look of clutter. So use a more not a transparent bin where you can't necessarily see it, but it has a label on it. So, you know, your hoodies are in that one or socks are in that one.
Okay, Annabelle, I have seen you advertise on Facebook, and a couple of months ago, I was like, that's it. That's what I want for Mother's Day. I don't have OCD. I have whatever the opposite of OCD is. I'm very creative, but creatives can be kind of chaotic and messy. And I get real overwhelmed because I really don't know where to start. And so the first thing you did is you came to my house and you gave me a consultation and you opened every drawer, and I imagine every client you have does the same thing. They just start profusely apologizing. It's like, I'm sorry, it's so messy, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I always like to give them the reassurance, like, it's okay. You're not alone. The average person all deals with just like messy. And that's where I can use my gift to get you organized and get things neat and tidy and add categories. So then hopefully you can adapt to those new categories and organization to hopefully create peace in homes.
Mhm. So you came and you gave, or you looked through everything and you measured everything.
Yes.
And then, I don't know, like a couple days later, you texted me your plan along with, I loved this part, is you suggested all of these organizing bins. Now, I can go to a place like Target and I can look at all the clear bins, but I don't know what's for what or something I assume is going to work. And I don't know. In the past, I've bought a bunch of things, but brought them home and they just don't really work. But that makes sense because there's certain types of bins for certain types of spaces. That's like mind blowing to me.
Yeah, definitely. So part of my consultation, I always include like a game plan of what products I'm going to use and why, just so it can give you guys the idea of what the space might look like. Because it is hard to just go to the store and just be like, oh, I want this, and that bin, but you don't necessarily know if it will fit the space and work well with that. I always run into it where I go to a space and there's a bunch of different bins, sizes, and colors. And part of the organizing process to make things unison and all the same, it makes it more aesthetic and it makes you love it more, I feel like, to look at. And so that's where I like to provide that as my service to get everything um, fitting the space as much as possible.
One thing you did that was mind blowing to me is we have pantry drawers. We used to have a walk in pantry where you could see everything on shelves, but then we sort of retrofitted something and we put these big pull out drawers. But you're always looking over top of everything. And so I had all of these cans. Do you remember my cans of tomato paste? And you're like, what? What do you use all this tomato? Like, I got it at Costco. I don't know, and you laid them flat. So then when I looked down at them, I was like, oh, there's the cans. I know what's in them and I know how much I have. That was so brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. The drawers was definitely a challenge. Most of the pantries I've done are those walk-in pantries that are shelving and you look at it head on. But looking at it from above, it was a little bit of a challenge. But once you move those labels above, like the OXO Pop storage, and giving a little label on the side of the bin for like the snacks and stuff, that's where it really came together and you could see everything you had.
Okay, we've got a picture of that. Abby's going to try to throw up the picture in the midst of our conversation so you can see my pantry drawers, the before and the after. I think the biggest pop in my space, and every day I think of you, Annabelle, and I praise your name because I had this cabinet to the right of my stove that goes countertop all the way to the ceiling. And when I designed the space, because I like design, but when I designed the space, it's so pretty, but it has my food processor, it has my blender, it has my KitchenAid mixer in it. And then above it had all of the, like, I had rusted tops on where I was keeping my flour and my rust flakes were getting in my pantry food. I had coffee that was in another one. And then I had the coffee filters that were all over the place. And you got me these OXO clear containers that have a little scoop that you hook on the inside of the lid.
Yes,
Those things are awesome.
they're the best thing ever. I love Oxopop storage. Those containers are my go-to for seal tight storage. Those last forever. I put them as when I got into organizing and I was creating my registry for my wedding. Those were like my number one thing. I want a bunch of those. I love them so much. They're definitely an investment for sure, but they're
Mhm.
worth it. And I've never had any issues with them.
They are so great. They seal everything tightly. Now I have my flour, sugar, coffee, and I actually enjoy baking again because I know my little scoopity scoop thing is in there, and I just never have to like fight for something to find to scoop it out or whatever. It's so great. We have a picture of that too. The before and after is quite mind blowing from what was happening before, and then you took my utensil drawers and you put those little springboarded bamboo divider things in there.
Yes.
Talk to me about using those.
Those are one of my go-to organizers for drawers. Because a lot of those plastic dividers you can buy are very limited on like space and you can't always utilize the space as best as possible. So I like those drawer inserts because they work with like any drawer. You can just need measurements and then you just pick out on Amazon what size you need and it's all adjustable, which is great. And if you ever do move houses, you can take it with you and it will work for any other future space as well. Utilizes the space as best as possible.
We had a funny experience because you had sent me the original sketch and I was like, I don't think I need all of that stuff. Like, let's order 80% of it. Then you get in my space. I'm like, I need all that stuff. And so, right there in my kitchen, you like ordered things overnight on Amazon to have shipped to my house so that the next day you came back, we had them. That was the thing I appreciated too, Annabelle, is that you came in and we worked together and we started taking everything out of the drawers and you have this little cute vacuum and you're like you're vacuuming out all of the crumbs and then we were wiping everything down and sometimes you just need someone to walk alongside of you to do that because that in of itself can feel overwhelming.
Yes. A part of my services too is doing that clean out because that's another thing is I feel like especially kitchens, so you just get built up with crumbs and food. It's a nice good restart to get everything vacuumed out. We added cork drawer liners to your drawers, which I loved. I haven't done that yet for a client, and I think it turned out so good. I'm already gonna do it to my house because I loved it so much. And then along with that whole process, even taking donations and trash out of your way, just so you're not stressed about, oh, when's the next time I'm going to run to Goodwill? So it's right out of your way.
How many garbage bags do you think we had between the 2 days? I'm gonna say like 8.
Yeah,
I think
quite
we
a
filled
bit.
up 8 garbage bags. It was our garbage day, so I kept running another one out
Yeah,
to
she was just getting her steps in and going back and forth.
But that was really cool, and then we had a whole donation pile of stuff that I just had to face and be like, "I don't use this product. I had it for 20 years. I don't need it anymore. It's not serving me." Even we cleaned out, I had a tall, skinny cabinet next to my stove that was chock full of like way too many cookie sheets and muffin tins and everything was like just shoved in there. And now I have 2 of the regular size cooking sheets, 2 of the half size sheet pans, 2 of the little pizza things. Even that, it's not all banging around. And I feel like I use them more because I know where they are and it's
Yep.
not so overwhelming.
Yes, it can be overwhelming when you have more stuff, especially when I tackle playrooms. What I always do is I talk to the client. I was like, what are the key toys they're playing right now? Let's do a rotation bin. So I incorporate a few extra bins that they'll store in their basement and they'll rotate them out because there's very much of something that's called like being overstimulated because there's so much to like look at. So for kids, it's like Christmas all over again when those bins get like switched out and they have new toys to look at and play with.
I wish I had you around to help me organize when my kids were young because I totally get what you're saying. You created something in my tall cabinet for, did you call it overstock? What did you
Yes,
call it?
overstock or overflow. I usually ask what they prefer.
I think I chose
Um,
overstock.
so a lot of bulk items, such as like you had a bunch of oil, like a big bulk thing of oil we store up there. Even if you were to get like a bag of flour and you weren't to fill the whole OXO bin, you could put the extra flour up there. Because it would be pretty wasteful to just dump the rest of it if it doesn't fit. And when that bin is getting full, then you know, oh, I probably need to refill some of my bins and stuff.
You said the funniest thing to me. I was at the second day you were with me. I was like, I'm going to just buzz to the grocery store a second while you continued to work. And you're like, by the way, you're out of powdered sugar. You need more coffee filters and you need more chomps, energy sticks or whatever. And I was like, how did you know that? It's because you had been, you saw what was empty. And now I visually can see so much better what I have, what I need more of. It's way less overwhelming. It's
Yes.
functioned so well in the 2 weeks since you've been there.
Good. I'm glad to hear. That's like the best news ever is when I have clients give their feedback and it's all going good. I had a house in Spring Lake. I was back there. I did their playroom over 2 years ago and I was like, can I quick go glance at your playroom? And it was just like crazy Like, not that I doubted myself, but it was just, like, a good, like, confirmation of, like, "Oh, wow, like, what I'm doing is, like, changing
Mhm.
people's homes," and the playroom was, like looked exactly the same. There was one bin pulled out of the Magna tiles, and the kids were playing with it actively, but everything else was just organized and everything had a place.
That's the thing. The point isn't just to get a great picture for social media or something, but it's to create systems that actually help people. And like we're talking about brains earlier, I am a creative, which I appreciate in myself, but it also I feel overwhelmed and then I kinda shut down and then I
Mhm.
just sit in the mess and the chaos because I just don't really know where to start, so it's really helped, and you told me that you've only had 1 client almost ever that never had you back to organize more spaces, right?
Yeah, almost all of my clients, except like I said, I think one that didn't have me back to organize another space because um once you put, like, a space or once you tackle a space, you're like, "I want the next space organized," because this creates so much more calm, and you know
Yes.
where everything is. I was working at a home in Fruitport. She only wanted me to do her bookshelf. Then a week later, she's like, "I want you to do my bathroom." Next week, "I want you to do the kids' closets." Next week, "I want you to do the storage and overstock room I have." And, like, she's like, "I just love it. Every space is organized. I come home and I feel, like, at peace because the busyness of having 4 kids, running them to sports and school and extra activities." And she's like, "It's so nice to come home and know where everything is." The kids love it because they can see all their snacks and grab it when they come home from a long day. And it's so happy to hear that.
That's what I'm gonna do for all of my future birthdays, Mother's Day, whatever gift holidays I was like, "I would like my bathroom organized. I would like this closet." What is the smallest project you've ever done? That bookshelf?
Um, that one was about 4 hours. The smallest was like a linen closet. It was just like a small sheets and towels. But I had done prior spaces for her, but she was finally like, "I just want this small linen closet done." It took me like 2 hours, took everything out, refolded it, added some bins and labels. Super easy.
I liked that in your pricing structure too, because you tell people exactly how many what you charge per hour and how many hours projected for the project and then there's the cost of the the bins and the buckets that might be required and so you really can do kind of a la carte like what works in your budget or something. I really liked that a lot. um, let's talk a little bit about the song you chose, Annabelle, because clearly you're passionate about organizing.
Yes.
Clearly it's in your wheelhouse and is kind of a God-given gift. And you just took a non-traditional path after high school. So you chose the song You Say by Lauren Daigle. What lyrics stood out to you in that?
So I chose "You Say" by Lauren Daigle. The lyrics that stood out to me was, "I keep fighting voices in my head that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up."
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up.
That stood out to me a lot because when I graduated from high school and I was doing my whole celebration with my open house, I had a lot of people come up to me and say, "So, like, you're not going to college? Oh, where are you going to college?" And it just, like, really, I don't know, it just makes me think twice about it of like, "Oh, should I have gone to college?" Like,
It
all
made
these
you
people
feel
are
bad.
yeah, it makes me feel bad because 'cause I'd be like, "Oh, no, I'm not going to college. I'm starting my own business." And they're like, "Oh, you're just starting your own business? You're not going to college for it?" And I was like I always gave the excuse, I was like, "Well, both my parents are college dropouts, and they both have their own successful businesses, and so they never pressured me to go to college, and I am so thankful for that." Um, but it was like I got in my head a lot, like, hearing people being like, "Oh, you're not going to college." I even had lost friendships because they straight up told me, "Oh, you're not going to college, like, we're not gonna be in the same, like, stage of life." And it's hard to, like, relate, and I was like, "But I love this and I'm doing what I
Mhm.
love." Um, but I don't regret it at all. I am so happy that I just pushed the voices away and did what I wanted to do. And I will say it was not easy starting out. It's still like a struggle to find clients, get my name out. But I'm so thankful for opportunities like this that allow me to spread my business, and word by mouth is the best way of doing that. And that's where I like totally was like turned to God for it. And in the lyrics it says, "In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity." And I've grown so much in my faith through this journey of being a small business owner and turning to God and knowing that He will provide for me. And He gave me this gift of organization and being able to use it to help others that don't have that mindset and create peace in their homes is like the biggest blessing. And I'm so thankful that God gave me this unique gift of having that mindset to get things organized.
What do you wish people would have said to you at your graduation open house instead of, where are you going to college?
I think people need to start asking, so what's next in your life? My mom would even come and stand beside me and be like, hey, what's next in your life? And like tell others and her friends to ask that, because I feel like in today's age, I feel like there's so many more people that aren't going to college. And I totally understand you have to go to college if you want to become a teacher, a nurse, a police officer, the things that need degrees. But there's so much out there that you don't need that degree, and it doesn't make sense to waste your time doing that when you can jump right into what you love. So moving forward, it should be, what's next in your life?
I love that. What's next? Instead of just assuming that that's the right path for everybody else. I have 4 kids. The oldest went to college, and that was the right choice, and it was great for her. The second oldest, she went to like a trade school, and I just got a text from her this week about a big success that she had, and she's just loving it. And as a parent, what I love is when you find your thing. That's your God-given talent that you work hard at. And perseverance, Annabelle, like, you just keep putting one foot in front of the other. You really, your service was such a blessing to me. It really was. And you're so not judgmental or critical when you come in. You're just really there to help. And so I think just keep going. You've got this.
Thanks for those words of encouragement.
Thanks for taking time to come in today. And we'll link your website and everything in our show notes. And hopefully we can figure out a way to share those before and after pictures, because they were kind of scary before, and now they're organized after.
The afters are the best.
Thanks, Annabelle. Thanks for listening to today's episode of This Lyric, That Truth. If you were inspired by today's conversation, feel free to share it with a friend and leave a 5-star review. If you're looking for more hope and encouragement in your music, download the Joy Media mobile app for free wherever you download your apps. I'm Ceci, and I so look forward to sharing more in-depth conversations with you as we talk about the lyrics that encourage us and shape our lives. Meet me back here next week for another episode of This Lyric, That Truth.